Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live cast with me. And today the topic is, should you move your girlfriend in and make her, basically upgrade her to a live-in girlfriend or not? And the pros and cons of that and what you guys think. So start with David. Hi, Paul, it's time for coffee. Let me buy you the first cup. Actually on my second cup, but thank you for that. I'll probably head out later and have another cup. I think I drink too much coffee. I probably drink 3 or 4 cups a day. So start here. Hi, Paul. I look forward to live stream again. Gio brought me here. Well, thank you to Gio, and thank you for joining. You're welcome, Paul. Not sure you would see this at Gio's, lol. Not sure what you mean by that, Dave. Jenny de Morena, Shao, Paul, Gio. Let's flip the book to a different chapter. Hang on, guys. I got to correct something here so I can see this a bit better. Hello, Daryl. How are you doing? Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning, 9-7. But you have already admitted you broke your rules by moving Mia in so quickly. Yes, I did. And I was lucky that she turned out to be such a good girl. But, you know, if you follow the rules, I've seen some bad stuff. Let me put it that way. People moving in their girl too quickly. It's better to take your time. I didn't, and I was lucky in breaking the rules. That's why I came up with these rules, guys. Not rules, but that's why I like to take things slowly. Thanks, Paul. Do you plan to retire in the Philippines permanently? I heard there is no universal health care even for citizens over 65 there. Well, Scott, you can buy insurance. I'm self-insured, so but you can get insurance for, depending on your age, somewhere between $50 and $200. But right now, my plan is to stay here 1 or 2 more years, and then probably, and depending how the oil industry is, if I get a job in the oil industry, I'll go back to work. If not, I'll probably head on over to Norway for a couple of 3 years. I know Mia really wants that, and I'd like to go back and spend some time in Norway. I haven't lived in Norway since '98, and I have family there and everything. So I'd like to spend 2-3 years there, and then probably come back to the Philippines or Malaysia or Vietnam. So and my plans are always changing depending on the situation. Obviously, I don't have anything in concrete. But right now, for the next about 6 to 12 months, yeah, I plan to stay here. Hello, George. How are you? From Texas. Henry says, that's your first problem. No such thing as too much coffee. I don't know, man. After a while, you start becoming a bit shaky, you know? So, hi to MV4463. How much pricier are electronics there, like TVs and computers, compared to America? Well, they used to be a lot pricier, but I think because of competition, they've actually come down in price. I went to look at TVs because the TV here is kind of small. I don't know if you see it or not here. It's kind of small, so I wanted a bigger TV. I'm planning on getting a 50-inch TV, and I looked at a TCL, and that was a 50-inch, and it was 2K, and it was also had the Android system on it, which I wanted. So it was 20,500 pesos, or roughly $410. So to me, for a 50-inch TV, that's pretty cheap. I think on average, probably here, the prices are 20 to 30% more, but they're not as bad as it used to be, especially when it comes to smartphones. Henry says, Mia is amazing, Paul. God bless you both. I envy you, man. Yes, she is amazing. And actually, I got some good news today, is that I just talked to the movers, and they can actually move us this week. So I just need, after this, I'm going to head out and look at some storage units, and then decide on a day where they will move. So Mia will be here this week if everything goes correctly. So she's really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to it. And then we can start working together on some YouTube stuff too. So her channel is doing fantastic. And guys, if you haven't checked her out, it's really growing. It's really growing. It's not. I'd say probably by the end of May, her channel will be bigger than mine. So you guys got to help me, man. Share my content. Good morning, Cameron. How are you? Let's see. Oops. Move the GF in? Yes. As long as she is okay with you giving her a Dutch oven. Fart while she's under the covers. Okay. Okay. Well, there are some negatives with moving someone in. And it really depends on your personality. But financially, there's going to be a hit. Because here in the Philippines, most Filipinos can't afford to go to the dentist. So, I don't think Mia had ever been to the dentist, and she had like 7 or 8 fillings, and she had to have a tooth extraction. So it does cost money to move someone in, because then you're expected to pay for a lot more. So there's a financial, it's a negative. Now on the other side, there is the positive, which is companionship. So 12 months seems a long time. Has anyone ever done that? I'm not against it, just not sure if it's practical. 12 months for what? Like before moving her in, you mean? If that's what you're talking about, before moving her in, I think it is practical. I mean, if the girl really likes you, she's going to stick around and she's going to be with you. And you just got to explain to her that you're taking it slow. Now, after 12 months, it's not like after 12 months she moves in for 7 days a week and that's it. I mean, I would go a few months and then she'd be there 1 day a week, then 2 days a week, then 3 days a week, slowly building it up, right? Hello from Mia and Paul. Well, Mia is not watching. The movers are at our house evaluating like all our boxes and everything, and like giving us quotes to move all the stuff here. So she's doing that. So once she's done with that, she'll probably log on and watch. Gio in the Philippines says, good morning. Good morning, Gio. Let's get a coffee after this, huh? Hi, Paul. Hoping I meet you both with Mia when I come back to the Philippines next month, since I'm also near J Park. Yeah, we'd love to meet you, Jenny. So when you're here, just send me a message on my email on the About section, and we go from there. How do you deal when your Filipina is poor and has terrible living condition and she wants to move in with you after 1 month? Well, Billy, you have to think about it this way. Let's say she's 25 years old, 22 years old, whatever age. This is the way she's lived all her life. So we look at it as terrible living conditions, right? They look at it as normal. They're not as bothered by it as we are when we see it, because that's what they're used to. That's all they know. I mean, they have their family there, they have their neighbors, and believe me, they have a good time. They're very social. So I think we sometimes are more bothered by it than they are. So, but now once they get used to this lifestyle, yes, maybe they get bothered by it. But if she's not used to this lifestyle, I don't think they're that bothered by it. Gio's in the house. Yeah, he is. I have a TCL and really like it so far. So it has the Android system on it, I'm assuming, Dave. Yeah, I looked at the picture quality and it looked fantastic. They said it wasn't 4K, it was 2K, but what do you need 4K for? There's no, as far as I know, nothing is sent in 4K. Maybe Netflix has some 4K, and a 50-inch, as you guys see, it's probably 1.5 meters, 2 meters to the TV. So having a 50-inch in here would be like being at the movies almost. So what's cheaper, having a live-in GF or dating around? Dating around, absolutely. I mean, to go on a normal date here, 500 to 1,000 pesos. So that's 10 to 20 bucks. Okay, let's say you go on 2 or 3 dates a week, so you're talking about $40 to $60. And if you live in a place like this, I mean, you don't even have to go on a date. You can just meet her at a coffee shop, have a coffee, and then go swimming, and then go Netflix and chill. So that it's cheaper to date than it is to have a live-in, because once you have a live-in, you're responsible for all the expenses she has, whether you like it or not. You're not gonna, if her tooth is hurting, you're not gonna say that's not my problem. It's your living girlfriend. So yeah, it's cheaper. At least when I was single, it was cheaper, and I think most people will agree with that. Good morning, Mr. Ron. So will Mia be traveling to Cebu on her own, or will you go back to get her and travel together? Thanks for that question, Mr. Vegas. The plan was for me to go back, but everything is constantly changing in the Philippines. Negros didn't require a swab test when I moved here, but now they require a swab test. And I don't want to take that chance because I don't want to end up 10 or 14 days in a basketball court. So she is coming here on her own. Cebu doesn't require a swab test, so she'll probably be taking the bus or taking there's a ship that goes at midnight, I think, and arrives in the morning here in Cebu at 7 in the morning, so she can sleep, and then I'll just take the taxi down and meet her, and so she'll be traveling on her own. There's also a friend of ours that might be traveling with her, so we'll see. I followed her Paul. She's great. Yeah, Mia has a great channel, so she has great content. It's called Filipina Life with Mia, and she doesn't prance around in a bikini, but she has awesome content. So you guys should check her out, really. I shouldn't say that because we have a competition who can reach 10K first. And I think she's going to win. Just to be real honest, I think she's going to win. She's intelligent and she likes to read, and so I knew her channel would do well. So yeah. Good morning, Paul. I hope you are well from down under. I wouldn't move a GF in at the start of a relationship. I would need at least 3 months before I will consider moving her in. Thanks for that, Amen. I think 3 months is actually kind of short, because I think people always have put their best foot forward and try to hide stuff consciously or unconsciously to make the relationship better. So you have to give it a bit more time. And when you say move her in, I mean, if you're talking full time, you could do 1 day a week, then 2 days a week, then 3 days a week, and slowly have that progression. Henry says, having a Filipina will cost you financially, but that's what a relationship is after all. That is true. That is true. But people want to know what's more expensive because people are evaluating their options, and they need to know that it is more expensive to have a live-in. So Filipina Mia is in the house. So what do you think, babe? You think you're going to beat me to 10K? Even if you wait a year to move her in, remember that Filipinas know how to play the long game. Yes, they do. But I think you're a man in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. You've dated. You start to understand the game. You start to understand red flags. And if you guys haven't read the book, The Unplugged Alpha, by Richard Cooper, you should. It talks about a lot of red flags and talks about a lot of issues you can see. And if you're aware of that, you start seeing that during the relationship before moving her in, and you can move on. Like Richard Cooper says, he says, hire slowly and fire fast. So there's that. Mia's in the house. Yes, she is. Mia, you can watch, but you have to mute the sound, lol. Yeah, I was taking 12 months to move her in. Just watching vloggers, I have never seen one wait that long. Yeah, but that's what we all do wrong, right? So, okay. Scott says, thanks, Paul. I remember you talking about REITs investments. Do you still think they are good investments? Are the yields pretty decent? It's good that you say that, Scott. I've been so busy this last month. I really haven't looked at my investments, and I really need to. But you can get, last I looked, you can get REITs 5% and up. ETF REITs about 3-4%. So I think they're still a good investment. I mean, I think real estate, everybody needs a place to live, and a place like the US, I think it's a good investment. Hi, Mia, you got this. Yeah, I think she has, actually. The moving guy's not here anymore. Okay. Well, this is for me. I'm going to call him after this, probably after I go check out some places, and then let him know. Mia is a great vlogger, not like some of the other vloggers in bikinis. Yes, she is. She has good content, and I told her, use your brains, not your body. Because you know what? I mean, I can understand these girls because maybe their English isn't good, and maybe they have really, I don't know. They just can't put good content together, so they have to like show off their bodies or whatever to get the hits. But I think it gets old after a while, you know? I mean, how many times can you see the same girl running around in bikini before you get bored of it? You know, I think the best way to have a good YouTube channel is to create good content. Now, if you have a pretty face, that helps too, obviously. She's really, hi. Hello. Thank you, amen. He hasn't noticed Mia yet. Yes, I have. Hi, Mia. What do you think about your GF waiting 12 months to move in with her Western boyfriend? So Mia can answer that. Hello, Paul from Greensboro, North Carolina. Hello, Monroy Smith. Chris Photo says, Gio sent me. What's his new girl's name? It's not King. Definitely not King. But you know, you guys don't ask me about Gio's girlfriends and all that. He wants to keep it private. I'm not going to say anything. You know, whatever he wants to keep private, it's on him, and whatever I want to keep private, it's on me. So, what's cheaper, being married to a highly educated Filipino who has a successful career? I would probably say that would be cheaper, right? If she has a good career because she has earning money. But you know, to each his own. I mean, some people like province girls, some people like city girls, some people like educated girls. So it's whatever you like, you know. I don't if you've got $2,000-3,000 in income, monthly income here, I think you shouldn't limit yourself to like thinking about how much is this girl going to cost me. You should, you know, go for what you want. This is to Daryl. Okay. Have you dated a Filipina with kids? If so, what are the red flags as an expat? Actually, I don't know if you guys have watched this or not. Some of my videos I talk about it, but I actually married a Filipina that had a kid. He was my stepson, and I loved that kid to death. But after the divorce, you know, things slowly disappeared between us. So, but yeah, were there some red flags? Yes, absolutely. But you know, if you like kids, I can understand. I love kids. So, but the problem is with marrying a Filipina, being a Filipina that has a kid in a serious relationship, is that, at least for me, you grow to love that kid like he's your own, and you have no rights over that kid, and but you have all the financial responsibility. If she decides to leave for any reason, you know, you have no rights to see the kids anymore, and it's just, to me, you're setting yourself up for heartache. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't date a Filipino with kids, but I just say just be even more careful. Um, that's the thing about plans. They never work out, Paul. Hurry up and wait. Yes, plans never work out. When I first came to the Philippines, I had a non-compete. So I was planning to stay here 8 months till my non-compete ran out. And then I decided to stay a bit longer. And then the pandemic hit, and now I'm still here. So, there's that. Plans never seem to work out. Um, what do you got against basketball? What? I don't quite understand that one. Haha, not a fan of the bikini videos myself. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love watching girls in bikini, but you base your whole YouTube channel on that. It's not. I don't know. To me, it's kind of okay. If that's what the guys want, that's what the guys want. I don't get it myself, but if they do well, all power to them. Bikinis are great for the beach. Vlogs, bikinis are not required. That's kind of the way I look at it. You got to have good content. Do they have any services like grocery delivery? Yes, there's actually a grocery store, but a stone cast away from me, probably 200 meters away, not even 200 meters away. And if you buy 4 bags of grocery, they actually have a guy come with you and deliver the groceries. So yes, they have the grocery delivery. And I think Grab does that too if you want to buy stuff. But here they do it for free. But the grocery store here is kind of a bit pricier than the other stores. So by probably 20-30% from what I saw. But it's nice to be able to go down and just buy some simple stuff. Like, for example, if it's pouring down with rain, I don't want to get on my motorbike and drive to the other store, which is only maybe 7 minutes away, and so I just walk down here and buy what I need. Or if I just need coffee or sugar, I'm not going to get on the motorbike and go. So it's really handy to have that here. I love it here. Thanks, Mia. Your channel is very good, from Daryl. Mia says thank you. Hell no girlfriend should. Anthony says hell no girlfriend should not move in the control starts. Oh, no girlfriend should move in because then they start controlling you. That's actually a good comment, Daryl. Anthony, I mean, because that's one of the things as a man you got to really watch out for, because they call it death of the relationship by 1,000 concessions. So you got to really watch that. You got to set the frame at the start and keep that frame. But yeah, it's very easy to start giving in to things, and before you know it, you're just there paying for everything. And so you have to be careful. But if you're with the right girl, they're not going to do that. And there are plenty of beautiful, good girls that won't do that. So time to sub, Henry. Time to sub. Daryl says, stranger retirement visa in Thailand requires 50% less money in the bank if you are married. It's much cheaper to have a missus than be single. That might be the case in Thailand. Well, at least till things go wrong, I guess. Then it's cheaper to have a girlfriend. Good morning, William. How are you? If she doesn't want you to meet her family, it's a good sign to not move her in. Yes. Almost all the girls I've dated here have wanted me to meet their parents. So, it's a good thing when they do. It means they're proud of you. They want to show you off. They want to move to the next trin. So the next step. So yeah, that's a really good sign. Hi, Paul, former resident of Irving, Texas here. Hey, yeah, I used to live in Frisco. So yeah, I know where Irving is. REITs is basically it's a REIT. It's a real estate investment trust. So what it is, they could buy, like for example, we live in a condo here. They could buy several blocks of condos or apartments, or you have REITs for businesses where they buy multiple places and rent out to businesses, or they can actually buy hospitals and rent out to doctors and all that. So you have different types of REITs. So you can invest in that. So it's just like buying a stock. In a stock, you own part of a company. If you buy a REIT, you own part of a building or multiple buildings or multiple places that rent out to businesses or parts of hospitals. I have actually hospital REITs in my portfolio. So yeah, that's what a REIT is. That's why I think it's a good investment. I'm not saying invest all your money in REITs, but part of your portfolio, in my opinion, should be REITs. And they typically pay good dividends as well. If the long-term plan is to meet the one, but you want a bit of fun before, would you recommend spending a year in the brothels to get playtime out of your system, or just date regular girls? Oh man, don't go to brothels. Why pay for the milk when the milk is free, man? No, man. Girls here, they're dating here is just completely different than the West, and it's just easier, and you don't need to pay for that stuff. Plus, when you start paying for that stuff, those girls are full of STDs and they're just dirty, and no, I wouldn't go there personally. Just come here and date girls, man. Have fun, date girls, be honest about it. Hey, I'm just dating, and date around, have fun, you know. And then sooner or later, you're gonna date a girl, and you guys are gonna hit it off, and you're like, you know, then you date her again and again and again, and before you know it, you guys are together. You know, with me and Mia, it's. Oh, let me hold on a second. Let me turn off this phone thing. With me and Mia, we started off as basically friends. I didn't want to date her actually, and we started out as friends, and we started hanging out, and not friends with benefits, just friends. And we started hanging out, and slowly, I fell in love with her, and then we started being boyfriend girlfriend. In the beginning, just her coming visiting me once in a while, and then she moved in pretty quick, and that was on me. But luckily, it was me, not a different girl with problems. But let's guess on Gio's new girlfriend's name. Okay, Jenny de Morena. Just didn't get it. Poor. They might be poor, but they are rich of love to their family. Then rich, or so-called have money, but they are lacking attention. Love to someone or care for you when I get old. Okay, I think what Jenny is saying there is that they might be poor, but they're rich in love, and they have a social life, and they have a good life. Just because they're poor, it doesn't mean they want your money. And I find that to be the case many times. I dated this one girl, and I mean, she wasn't rich, but she actually paid for a couple of dates because I guess she wanted to show me that she liked me. But yeah, I think people have really a bad impression here because maybe they're online a lot, and a lot of the scammers are online, and you know, there's a lot of good girls here, guys. There's a lot of good girls, and they're just pure and good-hearted. So it's not all about money. I know people lay it out as all about money. Do girls want security? Of course they do. I mean, but it's not all about money. There's other things involved as well. Should you move your GF in as long as she brings her own toilet paper? Why do they use so much toilet paper? Really? I don't find that to be the case. I don't find that to be the case at all. Guys, you have 24 months to give her the ring. After that, she's moved on to the next guy. Well, I've been with Mia for 18 months, so we'll see in 6 months. Are you moving on in 6 months, babe, if I don't give you a ring? My girlfriend of 6 years in Australia pays her own way. I absolutely refuse to let her move in. Yes, I know you do. And I think in Australia, correct me if I'm wrong, Sunrise, they have common law marriage. If you've lived together, I think it's 3 to 5 years, then you're married without even knowing you're married. So there's that. If I lived in Australia, that's absolutely no way I'd move someone in. So I completely agree with you on that one, Sunrise. Chris Photo, I let her move in right away as long as she brings a couple of girlfriends with her. Yes. I actually know about people that live with two girls, and they live together, if you know what I mean. They really live together. So, yeah. There's that. Have you dated a Muslim Filipina? No, I have not, but I have dated a Muslim girl when I lived in the Middle East, and she was just fine. So I've never dated a Muslim Filipina here, but I lived in the Middle East. My father is Middle Eastern, for you guys who don't know that. My mother Norwegian, and I'm British by birth, and then naturalized U.S. But girls are girls wherever they go. I mean, girls have needs wherever they are. What is the name of Mia's channel? Filipina Life with Mia. Again, that's Filipina Life with Mia. Geo doesn't have a GF. So a BF in, oh God, come on. Filipinas with good content will last. Bikini wearing flirts will be short-lived. What I think with the bikini girls is they get a hit in the beginning because they're new and they look good and all that. But like I said, after you've seen them 1,000 times in bikini, it starts getting boring. The way they keep the channel going is they bring on friends in bikini, I guess, and friends of friends in bikinis. So it's a never-ending show of bikini girls, and some guys like that. So if that's what you like, check out their channels. Geo is mingling. A man says Filipina GFs would be more expensive to a Western woman, as Paul said. A dinner date is like a $20 date at the most. For both of you in Western country, the petrol will cost that more than that. Yep. I mean, yeah, it's cheap to date here. It really is, and they're so thankful too. I mean, I remember when I took Mia out to a nice restaurant, like her eyes, and she's just so thankful and grateful. So they are so grateful as well here, and they don't take it for granted. They don't expect you to do things like that, and it's just a different environment. So, good morning, Malapascua Morena. She has a channel, by the way, guys. Check out her channel. Scott 56 says, thanks, Paul. Is there alimony and child support payments in the Philippines? I don't think alimony is, I've never heard of it here, and Gio might correct me, but child support, yes, but it's not enforced. Now, as a foreigner, as a US citizen, I can talk about that. If you did make a girl pregnant here and went back to the US, there's no reciprocal type of agreement between the Philippines and the US, so it would never be enforced by the US. But if you did make a girl pregnant here after a DNA test and you didn't support that child, that means you're a really asshole. I mean, you should always support your child financially and mentally. Always talk to them and call them and make sure they're getting what they need. So, how many times did you visit the Philippines before you made the move to settle down? Well, my story is like this. In 2000 and now it's been a while, but my first marriage ended in 2004, and then I met a girl here. I went online, so chatting with a girl, and I met a girl 2005. That didn't work out. I didn't see the red flags. I didn't know about red flags the way I do now, but that didn't work out. And then I met my second wife in 2006, I believe, 2007, and she came over to the US in 2008. So, and then we went back in 2010. So I've been here a few times. Probably before I settled down, I was here at least 5 times. So, and I loved it. Every time I came here, I just absolutely loved it. And I knew one day I would retire to the Philippines. I just loved the nature, loved the women, loved the way of being, how relaxed it was, how cheap everything was. So yeah, but I'd love to go see Malaysia and Vietnam too. So me and Mia are planning on that. So after this 6 months contract on this condo, if things have opened up, we'll probably head on that way. Then after that, probably come back to the Philippines and then maybe head on to Norway. Good point, Paul. Breaking up and not seeing your stepchild again is devastating. Yeah, it is. It really is. That's the thing that tore me up the most. I mean, losing her was bad, but losing my stepson was worse, a lot worse. And today I have no contact with him, so it's hard. It really is. It hurts when I pee. What? Okay. Go to the doctor, dude. Mr. Vegas says, for me, the problem isn't bikinis, is that most of the female vloggers have only lame info about dating and can't answer any questions about visas, etc. Yeah, that's exactly my point. And when they do make videos, it's usually just them prancing around and very little info. And so I don't know, but some people like that. So I mean, there are other channels that that all they do is vlog about their lives. So there's really very little info there, but they have a, you know, tens of thousands of followers or subscribers. So everybody has a different uh, what what they like to watch. So it's whatever people like to watch. But for me personally, I don't want to watch that. But if people like it, more power to them. Hi, Paul. I enjoy your live streams. You bring up some very good thought-provoking thoughts. Thanks, Mike. A man says, what is the price of real milk in the Philippines? Okay, real milk. You can buy the, what do they call that? You know, the ones that they heat up to high temperature to kill all the germs and all that, and it lasts for like a year or something once they put it in a in a container. You can buy that for about $1.50 to $2 a liter. Now, when I was in Dumaguete, I bought some real milk directly from the farmer because I was making yogurt and people liked my yogurt, so I started selling yogurt to people. But then they started watering it out, you know. It's like they always kill their own business model over here. Like I went and bought some milk, bought like I think it was 5 or 6 liters of milk to make yogurt, and the milk was just all watered out. The yogurt didn't come out, and it's just like I never bought that milk again. So that just they just lost a customer instead of just selling me the real milk and not trying to make a profit by watering it down. They just, I don't know. It's hard to get real milk here. It really is. I mean, in the shops in Cebu, I think it's easier, but like in Dumaguete, I don't think I saw real milk in the shops. It was all the other type. Okay. Gio says you'll be more unique when you are in Cebu, away from the Duma crew. You're talking about Mia now, I assume. Yeah, she will be. And they're going forward and backwards between Mia. Mia's taking over my live cast. She's not just beating me in subs, she's taking over my live cast. Duma drama is not good. No, it isn't. It's so much backstabbing, and that's the thing with these girls. Also in Duma, the vloggers, they're all backstabbing each other. It just amazes me. Instead of trying to work together, like me and Gio, we try to work together. They're all backstabbing each other, which is just crazy to me. Okay, at Geo in the Philippines, true, they just don't offer any actionable information, just skim on the surface. Yeah. Do you guys recognize this one? Hey guys! Okay, we'll go on from there. Definitely cheaper to have a GF only when things go wrong. Oh yeah, not just cheaper, but also it's if you have a living girlfriend, it's hard to break up. I mean, even if things aren't going well, it's not easy. But if you have a girl that's not living with you, that's just like, hey, it's not working out. See ya. So I've watched some of the spearfishing YouTubers. Kind of interesting. You know what? That is interesting. I'm glad you said that because I was thinking about that a few months ago before all the move and all that. I'd like to get into that. But I think there are some limitations to where you can spearfish. So I'll have to find out about that. That'd be actually interesting to do. Are there cheap clinics, doctors, dentists that there for Filipinos? Um, I think Filipinos can go to like the barangay and they have some type of nurses and sometimes some doctors there and they get cheaper medication and all that. Yes. Um, I mean, but I don't think any dentists, no, not that I know of. That's why you'll see a lot of Filipinos with horrible teeth because they can't afford the dentists. I mean, fishing videos, particularly Kastner fishing, got crazy hits. Are you look where spammy title to the video and it's gold. Okay. Can someone not living in the Philippines invest in a REIT? How does one do that as a foreigner? No, I mean, if you're living in the US, you can just start a Schwab account or Fidelity or one of those. They have tons of REITs. You just invest that way. Or if you're talking about REITs in the Philippines, yeah, I think they just started some REITs, but I would be careful with stuff in the Philippines. There's a lot of corruption here, and I'm maybe I'm kind of paranoid, but I don't know if I'd buy a condo here or land here or anything here. I've just heard too many horror stories, and things can change here very quick, and rules can change, and I've seen that through the pandemic, rules changing every second week for no reason. So I don't know. I'd rather just invest in the West and that way be more secure in my investment. Gave you some crabs. Okay. Did you boil them or did you fry them? How did you get rid of those crabs, may I ask? Would it make sense to let a woman spend a lot of time in your apartment as if she lives there, pay to keep her place, which would be cheap, so they technically that's not living with you? Actually, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, if she lives, if you rent her a room somewhere, that's probably 2 to 5,000 pesos a month. I mean, if you come up to 5,000, that's a nice room, probably with a bathroom, private bathroom, and all that. So that would actually make sense because then you could have her over 2 3 days a week, and she could live somewhere else 4 days a week, and then slowly build up that relationship when you feel secured in it. REITs are on stock exchanges. Invest in your home country. I have to disagree there. Invest where you think you can get most return on your investment. It doesn't have to be your home country. So as long as you know the market and understand the market. Ron just subscribed. Thank you, Ron. Subscribe to Mia's channel also. No toilet paper needed. They have a bidet here. Yes. So many places here in the Philippines have a bidet, and I think that's pretty unusual in the U.S. I haven't seen it in the U.S., but Mia says, "No, why would I leave you?" I don't know. They said if you don't have a ring on her finger by 24 months, the girl would leave. So just asking you, in 6 months, are you going to leave? That's kind of a joke, babe. Wash your bum with water. Yep, much cleaner that way, and no bum burns. 3 to 5 years. Try 6 months. Okay. 6 months. That's crazy. Geo in the Philippines. First time I used a bidet was in Japan. Now that was weird and freakishly exciting. Oh God, freakishly exciting. A level of madness. You're a funny guy, really. You are. Would you say petroleum engineer is a good field for a young person to get into? Absolutely not. Do not get into petroleum engineering. It is a declining field, as more and more energy will come from alternative energy such as wind, solar, water, nuclear, and so on. So if I was a young engineer today, I would stay the hell away from petroleum engineers. Sorry, my language, but if I could go back in time, I don't think I would be a petroleum engineer, because I've been laid off a couple of times because of the oil industry. When it takes a dive, it really takes a dive. I mean, yes, the engineers make good money, but I'd rather have a stable income for 25 years and have income for 3-4 years high, and then unemployed for 6 months, a year, and then or 2 years sometimes, hell, 3 years sometimes, and then making good money again. So today, actually, I had a guy at a party when I was in the US ask me about that. He was planning to go in petroleum, and I talked him out of it. I was like, dude, do mechanical engineering, do chemical engineering, because as a mechanical engineer, you can get a job as, for example, a drilling engineer. You take a couple of courses in drilling, and you can easily get into drilling. If you do become a chemical engineer, you can get into petroleum. It's not a problem. So I would not go petroleum. I just wouldn't. Stay away. If it helped you reach 10,000 subs before Mia and it was done tastefully, would you wear a bikini for your videos, Paul? Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not. But thank you for the question. I can wear just a normal boxer swim shorts type of deal, but that's it. Let's see. Should you move your GF in as long as she doesn't hang her granny panties on the shower curtain? Yeah. Moving someone in to me it's kind of exciting because, but it also has its negatives, because if you're used to living alone and then someone's there constantly, that can be a negative, and but it can be a positive. You have someone to talk to and all that. So say it plainly, Paul. A man that does not support his child is a POS. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. I don't understand people who don't, and especially in this country when your girlfriend is or ex-girlfriend is living in a bamboo shack and your child barely has nourishment, and you don't send them $300, $200 so your child can have food and maybe a good education. That's beyond me. People like that, I don't tell you what should be done to them, but that's bad shit, man. Gio says, Pinoy gets a girl pregnant, then skips out and moves to another island. Not just moves to another island, they might move to another village, and that's very common here. And I shouldn't say understandable when a Pinoy does it, but a Pinoy probably doesn't have a lot of money, extra income to support that child. But when a guy from a Western country does it, that's just beyond me, because most Western guys have enough income, and if they don't, they can go back to a job in the West and make enough money to support that child. So it's beyond me why they wouldn't, but has nothing to do with the kid and no support the pinoys. Yeah, which to me is not to understand. Again, even if pinoy does it, it's bad. Them not supporting financially might be because they don't have money, but that they don't have anything to do with that child, that's a bad thing. Yeah. South Korea is making 20,000 plus deadbeat dads pay child support now. Now, deadbeat dads to girls in South Korea you're talking about, or girls in the Philippines? Because there are a lot of South Koreans that come here. So if Mia got pregnant, would we all have to call her mammamia? Mammamia. Here we go again. my. Oh yeah. If Mia gets pregnant, she would be the happiest girl on earth, I think. But yeah, that's a few years in the future. Have you visited Kage and the Oreo, Paul? Yes, I have, and I loved it. I heard it's cheaper than Cebu, with luxury condos going up everywhere this year. I visited, but I was just there a couple of days. But Gio has lived there, and he really, really likes it. I mean, he talks very highly of Kage of the Oreo, so I think it's a place worth living or visiting for sure. Next challenge for Paul and Gio: live stream prancing around in mankinis. I'm thinking record viewers. Record female viewers, maybe. I think most guys will just switch off. I know I would. Thanks, Gio. Henry has no interest in seeing the mankinis. Thank you for that, Henry. DCW says, hi Paul, joining late. You seem like the more intellectual one of the bunch. No offense to anyone else. May I ask your nationality? I'm kind of a mix. My father's Middle Eastern, my mother's Norwegian. I was born in England, therefore I was British. And then later in life, I moved to the US to get my engineering degree. And I became naturalized American after living there for 5 years. I ended up living in the US 20 plus years. So yeah, that's my short version. I really don't see that there's need to be competition between bloggers. You can watch more than one, Exactly. That's my point too. That's exactly my point. And if they did work together, I think they would create much better content and increase their subs. Gio answered that question that was asked earlier. Yeah, I didn't think there would be dentists because that's why they have bad teeth. But yeah, they do have doctors, says Gio. So, and the barangay clinics will rarely have a doctor. Maybe one or twice a month doctors will come. Yeah, but they get the chance to see a doctor, and I think they get cheaper medication as well, but I'm not sure. Then we'll see. Mr. Ron says he'll sub to Mia's channel as soon as we're done. Good. Thank you, Mr. Ron. Billy asks, can you give some advice for someone planning to move in the Phil for the first time? Okay, my advice is be a minimalist. Don't think about settling down anywhere. Rent a place for maybe a month or 2 or 3, like come to Cebu, then maybe go to CDO, then Davao, maybe go to other places that you find interesting. Google the different places and see where you find interesting. Don't just go to Duma because there's a lot of vloggers there boasting about how to live about Duma, or to Newtown because there's 2 vloggers here boasting about Newtown. Do your own research and find many different places and say, okay, I want to try this, I want to try that, and come here with a minimalist type of lifestyle. Don't bring your whole things with you. I did that wrong also. I brought a lot of stuff with me and I shouldn't have. Now I'm putting it in storage and probably going to go through it and sell most of the stuff and get rid of most of the stuff. So Be minimalist, take your time. Also, when it comes to dating, take your time, move around, and find a place where you like. There's so many beautiful places here. And don't be one of those guys that goes to bars and drinks every day. Go to all these nature resorts. There's so many beautiful waterfalls, beautiful hiking, beautiful beaches, beautiful diving, free diving. They even have not skydiving, but windsurfing, kite surfing. There's so much to do here. So, do the research and come over. And also have your finances in order. Make sure you open an account with ATM free. So they don't charge ATM, like Charles Schwab is one of them. You can see a link in my description. And there's others too. I think Fidelity maybe does the same thing. And there's some other banks that does the same thing. So get your finances in order. Have 2 different credit cards in case you should lose one. And always put one credit card in one place and the other in another place. So those are just some quick advice. How long have you lived in the Philippines? How long were you married and what happened? I've been in the Philippines now since November 2018, so about 2.5 years. How long were you married? I was married for almost 6 years. What happened is she walked out on me. That's what happened. And yeah, I won't get into it, but yeah, she walked out on me, and she made some bad friends. Let me put it that way, and things went downhill from then. But that the marriage ended wasn't necessarily a bad thing because I'm here now and I'm enjoying life. If I wasn't, I'd probably be still in the States working, and so every path in life leads you to a different direction, which can be good when you look back. At the time, it can seem very, very bad, but then you realize that maybe it wasn't that bad years later. William says, you could do as I did, get a Filipina with her own home, then the problem is solved. Yes. But then if something goes wrong, she's the one kicking you out, buddy. Mr. Ron says, I've been with my GF since I've been here over 2 years and no ring on her finger, and she isn't going anywhere. Yeah, exactly. I think if a girl likes you, she likes you. I mean, if she demands a ring on her finger, otherwise she leaves, then it's not about you. It's about her. It's about what she wants. Sorry, guys. I had to have a bit of coffee to keep me going. DCW says, I would agree about petroleum engineer. I have a nephew in Germany who studied meteorology and consults on where to place windmills. Talk about a lucrative occupation. Oh man, I'd love to do that. I'd love to get into alternative energy. Maybe that's an idea. The thing is, I'm going to be 54 in July. If I was like in my 40s, I think I'd go back to school, 2 years in engineering school. But if I went back now, I'd be 56 by the time I'm done. Then start working at 57. Is that even doable? I don't know. But I love working. I really do. And I'd love to go back to work. But we'll see. Sorry, I didn't click on show, but that's the comment I just read. Yes. That's why I had to blink twice. Kevin says, if a woman instantly wants to move in with you, you have to wonder how many men has she moved in with before you. Do you really want to be the 6th or 7th guy a woman lives with? Yeah. And then you have to ask yourself the following. If she's like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or if you're the guy she's lived with and things haven't worked out 3, 4, 5 times before, there's something going on there. Not for sure, but probably, right? Let's see. Guys, I'm going to go on for about 30 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it a day. So, hey, Paul, good afternoon from Vlad Vladvostok. Just wondering, do you eat balut? Absolutely not. And or drink Red Horse? Not really, no. While you're having fun there in the Philippines, no. I don't really drink. Once in a while, I'll have a glass of wine or a beer, but I'm not really a drinker. So I'm not the type who hangs around bars and drinks. So, but balut, absolutely no. I've never tasted it, but it looks disgusting to me. Whether it tastes disgusting or not, I don't know. Good day, Paul. Enjoy your vlogs. As an older guy, almost 75, with several failed Filipina relationships, I've chosen my GF with my head rather than my heart. Good, you should. And take your time. No bikini, no sub. That's okay. You don't have to sub, Dave. Rob says, terrible to leave a child behind like that. Yeah, it is. It really is. And it's not just about the money. A child needs a father. Hey, it's my favorite narcissistic and red-pilled YouTuber. It's good to see you, mate. Thanks, Wandering Duck. If things are bad with Filipina wife and you leave, what are legal responsibilities? Well, as far as I know, nothing. I mean, if you have a house together, she's probably staying and taking over the house. But if you're talking about alimony and all that, alimony. I don't think it's required here. I've heard of people just leaving their Filipino wife and then going on living with a different girl. But the thing is, if you do leave your Filipino wife and you start dating, you better move to a different island and keep quiet about it, because under Filipino law, it's illegal. So, there's that. So you have to be careful. And that's why you should never date a married woman, even if she is living in a different island and the husband is in a different island. You can get in a lot of trouble, and you can actually get blackmailed by her ex-husband. So if she's married, if she tells you she's married but she's no longer living with him, stay away. That's my advice there. Do you also teach English online? Actually, I started teaching English, but Duma has brownouts and not good internet, and I didn't quite enjoy it at the time. I've thought about going back into it, so I might do that. But right now, no. But it's been this last month and a half has been really busy. Plus, all the moving that we're going to do this week, and then the next week will be the unpacking and getting Mia situated. So it's going to be probably another month before we get completely situated. Thoughts on Ricky? Yeah, he's a great guy. That's my thoughts. And I think he went back to the US because his mother is kind of under the weather. So he went back there. So he'll be back once things open up here. And the sun shines for everyone. Yeah, sooner or later it does. Wow, only 5 years. I've lived in the USA for 14 years. Is still on visa. Don't you? Oh, really? Well, my visa was based on my marriage to my first wife, which was American. What are some ways to make money online while living in the Philippines? Well, I think teaching online is probably the most secure way. And I think once things open up, I think there's a lot of people teaching online now because they're at home, or maybe they lost their jobs. But now that things are opening up, jobs are coming back, there's going to be less and less teachers. And I think that will be the opportunity. I think people do some writing online. Some people do that. Some people do like kind of affiliated links kind of deals. So there are possibilities. If you have a background in, for example, programming, you could do some of that. So there are possibilities, but yeah, you just got to set off the time and have a place with good internet. I did volunteering as a doctor, surgeon in Ilocos in 2012, 2014. Super rewarding. Want to do it again. Oh, really? Wow. Awesome. As many as years as I spent studying to be an engineer, I think I should have been a doctor. Wow, only 5 years. I've lived in the US 14. Oh, okay, I read that already. Dave says, don't think we really want to see the bikini. Just want him to do it. I'll turn away. Do you recommend setting up a bank account? If so, which bank? No, I just use ATMs. In the beginning, I was like hell bent on setting up an account. I don't know why, but I was. And now it's like there's really no point. You have your ATM, you have PayPal, you have TransferWise, you have all these online things. So what's the point of having a bank account here? Plus, banks have been known to go bankrupt here. So yeah, there's that. DCW says, get a burger. I don't know if that is possible there. I had one at McDo's and about lost my cookies. Well, thank you for the contribution, DCW. Actually, we heard of a good burger place here, me and Gio, so we're probably going to check that out tonight. And I'll put that towards good use. Again, thank you. Now I got to find, let's see. Most people don't have a credit card. Very difficult to obtain. You mean in the Philippines? Yeah. But what's become really popular here is like the Gcash type of payment. So I use that also. I go to the mall, I put money in, there's like an ATM machine where you put the money in for the Gcash, and then you just look at your phone. Okay, you receive the Gcash money, and then you can pay bills with your Gcash, and there's supermarkets that accept Gcash. So there's a lot of ways to use the Gcash now. And so that's becoming the popular way of doing that instead of the credit card type of deal. Zuman says, you say be a minimalist. What exactly is essential and what's not? Are jackets, sweaters needed? If you live like in, I forgot the name of the place. I'm starting to show my age here. If you live up in the mountains here, it does get cold in the evening, so you probably need a sweater. But you can buy most clothes here. So unless you're a big size, if you're a big guy, it's hard to get clothes here. So if you're just a normal size, like a 5'8", 5'9", 5'7" type of guy, and don't weigh like 250 pounds, it's okay. But you can buy all your clothes here, so you don't have to bring a lot of stuff. I think the most essential thing is this. I mean, think about it. You can take pictures, videos, you can do voice memos, you can chat with people, you can Skype call, you can do. I mean, once you have this, it's like a mini computer in a way. And if you bring an iPad also, that's great, or just a small computer. Paul, did you lose any assets in your divorce? The first divorce, I think, cost me $2,000. And the second divorce cost me $5,000. I had a prenup on my first, but the prenup expired because I thought to myself, well, if we're together for 5 years, it'll last forever. I was stupid back then. But it only cost me $2,000 because I won't say why, because of what, but I understood what was coming, and I did certain things to make sure that my liability would be minimized. Let me put it that way. On my second divorce, I had a prenup, and I didn't have to give her anything, but I gave her a car that was worth $10,000 for $5,000. So she paid me $5,000, and she got assets of $5,000 in the car, and that's it. That's all it cost me. But the money wasn't the issue; it was the heartache. And the second one, the first one not so much, but the second one. I mean, don't get me wrong; I really did like my first wife, but my second wife had a kid that I fell in love with like he was my own kid, and that was heartbreaking. It was. And that's why maybe I'm so against single mothers. Not against, but warn people not to date them because of my experience, But, maybe I'm too harsh on it. Sometimes I think I'm a bit too harsh. I mean, if you think it'll work and you're willing to take care of the kid and maybe adopt a kid, I think single mother could work, but I'd be very careful about that. Hi, Paul. Your ex-wife is also a Filipina? Yes, she is. Did you take her to the US? Yes, I did. And I know what your next question will be. And yes, she did will be the next question. Answer. Don't marry. Divorce is illegal. Don't support someone else's kids and family. Be cautious. Yeah, that's a good comment. I don't know how you say that. Anrevito. But some people want to have kids and can't have kids, and that's their way of having a family. Some people want a family life, so that's okay. So at that point, it's okay, but you have to be really careful about it and who you choose, what single mother you choose, because make sure that you're not just getting used for security, and that she actually cares about you, and she will be there for you if something happens to you. Hey, go back to school. I'm 63 and getting a degree in English after 60 in Arkansas College free. I don't think we are ever too old to not love learning. Yes, loving learning is one thing, but getting a job afterwards, that's a different thing, right? I mean, I think once you're over 50, especially over 55, it's hard to get a job because all these companies want to hire the young guys, right? So, I mean, if you're just learning just to learn, that's one thing. I completely agree with you. But if you're going to try to get a job afterwards, I think it's hard. Well, if she kicks me out, then there won't be any drama. Yeah, true. You won't hold on to the bedpost and refuse to be moved out. Balut tastes just like a boiled egg. I just don't like if the duck looks at me and has feathers. Yes. Yeah. I just watch when people eat it and I feel like sickly inside. So I just can't imagine doing it myself. David says, hi, Paul. What about a ring in her nose instead of her finger? Maybe. Happy then. Some ring better than no ring. Piercing. Yeah. What do you say about that, Mia? How about a ring in your nose? I don't think Mia would go along with that. They don't make enough red horse to make me eat balloons. Yeah, good comment, Mr. Ron. David says, balut is delicious. Have to drink. It's just juice at first. Move GF, okay. Say you dated other women as well. Seen the field of women first. Got to know her a few months. Oh, you moved your GF in after a few months? Okay. Isn't even a simple divorce rather expensive in the Philippines? Actually, divorce is not allowed, but they do oh God, my mind is basically they rescind the marriage, and they but it's very expensive. Yes, it's very expensive. I think $5,000 to $10,000, and it doesn't always go through. You have to have a good reason for it, and it's a hard thing. So I wouldn't get married in the Philippines. Now, some people have been with a girl for 10 years or something, and then they get married. I can understand that, but after a year or two, no. When you move in a Filipino, to them it's the same as marry, not like the USA. Trial run. Completely agree. I actually have a video on that coming up, so watch for that video. Hi, Paul. What country are you from? I forgot. Well, as I was saying earlier, I was actually born in England, but I don't have any British relationships. I mean, relatives. My mother is Norwegian, so I have a lot of relatives in Norway. My father is Middle Eastern, so I have some relatives in the Middle East that I don't really have contact with anymore. But my father now lives in Canada, and my mother lived all her life, most of her life in Norway. She's now in Spain. So I'm British by birth, and then I was naturalized American. So it's kind of such a long story. So when people ask me, I say planet Earth. But yeah, I'm a dual citizen, American and British. I'm actually gonna apply for a third citizenship, which is Norway, since I have all my relatives there, and I plan to live there a few years in the future. So annulment was the word I'm looking for. Sorry, my brain is dead. It takes up to 3 years and 4,000 US dollars, yes, or more. Actually, I've heard more than 4,000 sometimes. Brotherly, new GF took 2 years for her to get annulment and 5,000. Yep. 5,000 peso. No, he's talking US dollars. Once Mia arrives, will you be granted visitation rights to continue seeing Geo? Or will you have to sneak out the back window? Hashtag wingman hit. Well, I'll tell you one thing about Mia. She is really a very understanding person, and that's why we've been together for a long time. She understands I need my alone time. When I lived in Duma, my neighbor, who also was the owner of the house, he became my best friend, and we would go on trips together, just me and him. And sometimes it would be us and the girls, and sometimes just be me and him. And sometimes when he wasn't available, I would just go on my motorbike and drive for hours just to be alone. So she knows I need my alone time, and she knows once in a while I'm going to go down to see Geo and at the coffee shop and sit there and talk an hour or two. That's just the way it is, and she accepts that, and that's why I love her, because she is an accepting kind of person. Church love their money in the US, yeah. In the Philippines, yeah, they do. I think churches love their money everywhere in the world. Yeah, I'm not going to stop him. My third GF in Hawaii, my tenant next door, was from Kage on the Oreo. Really? Her sex drive was off the charts. Okay. Is that... she was instantly ready 24/7. Makes me want to visit CDO. Well, all women are different. Just, I don't think all... Or maybe that's why Geo loves CDO so much. Just joking with you, Geo. Keep the leash tight. 5K is cheap. Try a house, car, boat, RV, and child support. Yeah, you're talking about in the US? Yeah. 5,000 is cheap. But for the Philippines, that's a lot of money. I was married for 40 years. She got a lot. Yeah. In the US, it's supposed to be 50-50, but it never is. They always end up getting more. Wondering Doc makes me never want to get married. I wanted a wife to build with, but I've already built everything myself 10 times over. Yeah. Yeah, no point in getting married. If the girl likes you, she'll stay with you for you. And if she demands marriage, then, Now, I might end up getting married, but that's because if me and Mia go to Norway, as an example, I'll end up marrying her. So I think that's why she wants to go to Norway. Right, Mia? But yeah. Still single in the Philippines and have a family. Okay, yeah, that's doable, man. That's doable. My GF has 5 girls, but they are all grown. She is 45. Oh, yeah, that's good. 5 girls, wow. The Filipinos, they love big families. They really do. I know a Norwegian guy who married a girl that had, oh my God, was it 8 or 10 kids? 8 or 10 kids. And I think 3 of them are still under 18. So it's, they love big families here. I don't get it. I don't get how they can even have a big family when they have so little money, but they do. In Philippine, age max is 45. Well, that's you know, the Philippines has very many good sides, but one thing I have noticed is that I'm not talking all. I'm just talking average now. Okay. Um, some Filipinas, average Filipinas, once they reach 35, 30, 35, they seem to go downhill really fast compared to, for example, Thai women or Vietnamese women. As they seem, those other Southeastern countries, they seem to hold themselves much better. And I think it's something to do with diet and maybe health, being health conscious, exercise, and all that. I think Filipino women that do exercise and do eat healthy, they look fantastic at 35, 40, 45. But most of them actually don't. They get overweight once they reach 35, 40, and they just let themselves go. Plus they might have had, 3 to 5 to 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, 10 kids. So yeah. But I think if someone exercises and eats healthy and all that, they can stay young for a long time. Not working out too good in Manila with Filipino wife. However, her sexuality is off the charts. Yeah. Well, if it's not working out well, be careful about, getting a child with her. Hillbilly, yeah, I want kids. Need to figure out the best place to do so. Definitely not the US. Definitely not the US. Absolutely not. I would say Philippines is a fantastic place to have kids. It really is. The kids here, they grow up and it's like a community, and they're so kids here are so respectful and they don't have all the BS that's going on in the West. And it's just a different environment here. And also it's cheap, like to have a yaya at home, a live-in yaya, you're talking about $200 or $300 total with feeding her and clothing her and everything. And she'll take care of the child, change the diapers, make food and everything. It's really, this is the place. If you want to have kids, if you're in your 40s or 50s, let's say, and you're thinking about having kids and you say, I haven't had a family before, maybe you have had a family and you want another family, this is absolutely the place to have kids. Philippines have work age limited, not like US. Yeah, it's true. Like they'll say in the malls, got to be under 30 years old or something. That's why women here, when you talk to them, they'll say, I'm old. And they'll be like 32, 33 years old, and they think of themselves as old. You never hear a girl in the US saying, I'm old. Even at 50, they won't say they're old. Wandering dog. Okay, that's the wandering dog. Mr. Ron, 45 and 5 kids. How is it possible they're all grown? Well, if she started at 15 and ended at 20, 21, they could all be grown. They start early here too. So, Mark Smith, how did the process of taking her to the USA go? How did you meet her and how soon did you sponsor her? I live in the USA, but originally from Hungary. I think taking a girl there would be much safer. Okay, so I did the fiance visa thing, and it took about, from filing to getting her here was about 9 to 12 months, if I remember correctly, and it cost about total somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. How did you meet her and how soon? I met her online, and I went to visit her twice or thrice before she came here, and there were some red flags that now I'm aware of, but I wasn't at the time. I was think of taking a girl here would be safer. I think taking a girl there would be safer, much safer. I think you're thinking of doing the same, I assume, by your question, but I would be just a bit careful and really get to know them really well, visit them several times, and don't watch what they say, watch what they do, and watch out for the red flags. So yeah, if you haven't read that book by Richard Cooper, I keep emphasizing that, but it's a really good book, The Unplugged Alpha. I would go ahead and read that, Mark, and do some research on on getting a girl to the US. I have a friend in the US who married a girl, and their age difference was 35 plus years, and they're still together 10 years later. So it can work out, but you just need to meet the right type of girl. And also back to your question, make sure if you bring her over that she doesn't hang out with the wrong type of people, because once they start hanging out with other Filipinas that are divorced, it's the end. It's the beginning of the end. And that's what I did wrong. Hillbilly says, wondering doc, try find one has only one kid. Best way, make sure kid's under 5 years old. She's working, okay. Annulment. Yeah, I couldn't find that word earlier. I'll tell you, I'm getting old, man. I have a GF in the Philippines, but I don't really care for her 2 adult kids. They never say thank you for the things I give and do for them. And that's from D-Man Morales. Well, very simple solution to that. If they don't say thank you for the stuff you do for them and give them, don't give them anything else and don't do anything for them. It's that simple. Gio says annulment about 200,000 pesos, which is about 4,000 US dollars. Oh shit, I got a lot to catch up here. I think about leaving Filipina wife, however, her sexuality is off the charts. Well, I don't think you should stay with someone just because of sex. You can get sex anywhere here in the Philippines. It has to be that personality mesh. That's just my opinion, but hey, to each his own. But a Westerner can file for divorce in his own country. Yeah, you can do that. You can go back to your own country and file divorce, and then it's valid in the Philippines. But if the Filipina is married, she can't just leave the country and get divorced, I believe. Okay. Jenny de Morena said, I got my annulment in 6 months. Okay, well, that was fast. I've heard it takes years. A Filipina friend told me that there are plenty of quality Filipina girls available with good income and contacts, older though. Yes, there are many, many girls. I met one in Cebu when I lived here, or actually I lived in Duma before I met Mia, and she was working, made good money, and she was in her 30s, super, super good girl. So there are lots of good girls here in their 30s wanting to meet foreigners that have good income. So Mektek says, I meant that credit cards are difficult to obtain in the USA. My credit score is 700 plus from loans and repayments, but still can't get a credit card for lack of revolving credit. I had never had a problem getting a credit card. Only in the beginning when I moved to the US and then I started working, I couldn't get a credit card because they had no history of me. So I had to get a credit card, joint credit card with my wife at the time that earned like 1/10 of what I was making, but she could get a credit card, and that way I build up the credit. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Jenny de Morena, have kids get harder to get annulment. Once you have kids, yeah, I can imagine. YouTube dude says, if you take your girl home and find out she has a penis, red flag. I would hope you find out before that. Hillbilly says, in the USA, she got 70 to my 30%. Ugh, lost 300,000 USD. Oh, God. Don't you hate that? You do all the work and she gets all the gold. Oh, glad I don't live there. Hillbilly have kids. Jenny Demoran says, Hillbilly, I have kids of 2, and beside they are the reason why I get annulment, though. Okay. The problem is older Filipinos eat a lot more sugar and fried food than other Asians. Yes, exactly. The diet, that's what I was talking about. And it's not just older, even younger ones. And, sugar and all that. It's fast carbohydrates and creates oxidants in your body, which again destroys DNA, so it makes you get older faster. That's to someone else. Philippines have work age limit 50, not like in the USA. Really? I didn't know that. That's new to me. Thanks for that info. The first time a kid asked me to bless, I about passed out. Yeah, the blessing like this. Yeah, they're so respectful here. Like I said, I love the kids here. They're just so adoring. If compared to the spoiled kids in the West, they're very nice. Have kids in the Philippines instead of the West. Yeah, completely agree. Much cheaper and easier to raise, yes. And women don't have as much of an incentive to leave you like in the West. Yeah. And I mean, in the West, they have a financial incentive. Here, they have a financial disincentive to leave. So it's a completely different ballgame. My ex even said my GF was really built well for a girl that had 5 kids. She does work out and takes care of herself. Exactly. That's why she looks good. What if my GF wants to change the diapers? Let her. It was trying to fly out of my mouth. Chris says many Filipinos going off the cliff around 35 may be related to the high sugar content in their diet. I think so, yes. And they put sugar in everything. Like if you get a mango shake here, I always say half sugar. And the times I forget to say half sugar, it's so sweet. So there's sugar in everything. So you have to be aware of that when you're here. My GF is 49 and drop dead gorgeous. Her niece is 30 and looks 50. Yep, that does happen. If you take care of yourself, you can look young for, you could be 50 and look like 30, right? So I've seen that. And I've seen girls that are in their 30s and they look like they're 40 plus, 50 plus. What makes you happy in the Philippines? I've kind of covered that so many times. It's nature. It's the cost of living, the people of the Philippines, all the stuff you can do in the Philippines, the cost of living in the Philippines, the women in the Philippines, and not in that specific order, and more. So, let's see. Age limit at factories 35 to 40. Sucks for the people in the Philippines. Yeah, jobs are really hard here to get. People are applying and applying and applying. It's nothing, and they pay you what, $6-7 a day, and $6-7 here is not really survivable. So they barely get by. So when you go somewhere and you give half a dollar tip, they're so grateful. Me and Gio were at a coffee shop once, and I think they didn't have any ice, and they said, "Oh, we don't have. We're out of stock on ice." I said, "Well," we told them, "Go get some ice because we want our drink, right?" And they went and got some ice, and we gave them $3 tip, which is 150 pesos. And their eyes, they were so thankful. Honestly, they were so thankful. It was like you could see them almost jumping up and down, like 150 pesos, $3. That's half a day's wage for them. And it's just, they were so happy, like they were almost planning how to party or something. So, if you have the financial assets, be kind when you're here, tip as much as you can everywhere because they really value that. They really value that. I really don't want to go into that because I don't know if she watches my channel, and she had red flags, but she also had good sides. But that relationship is in the past, and it's not something I want to get into. What? Oh, I lost track again. I feel like I did an abortion. Okay. Retirement age in Philippines way lower than US. It's 60. Problem is sugar age really fast. Why get old faster? Yep. I've laughed during this live stream. Okay, I'm glad I could make you laugh. Um, Mushir says, I appreciate your personal story that you tell. It's compelling. My LDR Filipina can't maintain a conversation with me. Red flag, yeah. That's another thing I love with Mia. She loves to read. I mean, she really loves to read. Sometimes I have to Kindle and do something. Yeah, so to me, that's important in a relationship. A serious relationship is that she can hold a conversation. What I mean is that taking a Filipina to a second world country, Hungary, could be a great option. It's still much better compared to the Philippines, but she would struggle to build her own dreams, lol. I mean, it depends on her dreams. Like, for example, Mia's dream is to be a nurse. You could go to Hungary and go to a nursing school, I'm assuming. So it shouldn't be about her dreams. It should be also about what you want. And if you think you can maintain that relationship in Hungary, I assume you are in Hungary then, Mark. Is your ex-wife still riding the alimony pony? No, she gets no money from me. As I was saying, I had a prenup. Earlier, I mentioned that she did get a car from me that was worth $10,000, and I gave it to her for $5,000 because I had a prenup in place and I didn't have to give her anything. But it was kind of a incentive for her not to contest the prenup, I guess. But no, I didn't give her anything, and yeah. Just don't go back to the Philippines and remarry to a new girl. Yeah. Once you get the annulment, you mean? Red flags are always redder in retrospect. When you are infatuated, not red at all. That's a very good comment, Seeing Eye. That's why it's very important to not just listen to what they say, but see what they do and think about it. Maybe even start a diary, because the day-to-day things you don't notice, but if you start a diary and writing things, what's going on and all that, and read a couple of books about that, it really does help you put things in perspective while it's happening. Hillbilly in the Philippines, Nitban. In USA, ex-wives get alimony till she remarry. Is she been married to you for 20 years plus? Oh, that difference from state to state. I think California, it's 10 plus years. But then your ex-wife will probably never get remarried, just have a living partner just because she wants to get the alimony check, right? So I think those rules, I'm sorry to say it, but she has access to your money, but you don't have access to her. It's just like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the worst thing is that men came up with these rules, not women, men. Okay, that's to McTech. Bob Stewart, credit card companies are lowering limits even for perfect credit and not approving new accounts due to COVID. They are being very cautious right now. Okay. How do Filipino guys feel about foreigner guys coming to Philippines for Filipinas? I haven't had anybody say anything bad. Filipino guys. I have never had a Filipino guy say anything bad. I've had Filipinas give derogatory expressions and words, but never had a guy say something. So I don't think they care, really. I mean, there's plenty of women. So I just don't think they care. At least if they do care, they haven't expressed it outwardly towards me. Maybe Gio has experience with that. I don't know. I've never experienced it. Okay. Not to mention, Dave says, not to mention the amount of rice they eat will eventually put on pounds. Yes, that's true. Especially white rice. So if you can try to get them to eat brown rice or red rice, that's better. And if you can get them to eat potatoes, that's even better. I'm slowly working on potatoes with Mia, but she loves her rice. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Laurie. Rob says, I don't care of myself, and I'm late 40s, look early 30s. I think I've reverse DNA. Yeah. Sounds like you've taken care of yourself, Rob. Gio says, sugar and rice are the main culprits and lots of fried foods. Yes. Yes. Bodybuilders eat rice 6 times a day and they have ripped abs. Rice is a whole food and doesn't make you fat. Junk food does. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Wandering Doc, but I thought rice had what they call fast carbohydrates. So if your body doesn't absorb them straight away, it's turned to fat. While, for example, potatoes has slow carbohydrates, so your body has more time to absorb them. But then again, you're the doctor. I'm not. Rice is pure sugar. Well, it's not pure sugar, no. A lot have problems in their 50s and 60s. Eat sugar 3 times a day minimum, cause problems. Yeah. Better to be eating black and red rice, yes. Or even better, eat potatoes. Wandering Dog says, I eat oatmeal and rice 4 times a day and have a V-taper and an 8-pack. Rice doesn't make you fat. Mango shakes with sugar, chips, and junk food does. Yes. I don't know. I love my mango shakes. But rice is cheap and fills their bellies. Yes, that is true. Rice is rich in carbohydrates and can have a high G score. Rice is a whole food. Pure sugar is heavily processed. Please don't spread bro science and obvious misinformation. Okay, thank you, Wandering Duck. But I always thought that rice was a fast carbohydrate. So isn't it better to eat potatoes? But I'll have to do the research on that. Thank you for that pointer. I agree. Slow down the carbs and eat more vegetables and proteins. Yes, that's kind of my thing there too. They don't eat a ton of veggies here. No, they don't. Sorry, that's a gnat. Both white and brown rice have a high glycemic index, GI score. The GI score of a food represents the impact it may have on blood sugar levels. Okay. I wonder how potatoes do on that. Let me see. GI score, potatoes versus rice. Why did you choose a Filipina, Trump, Thailand in case you evaluated it? Well, I'd been to the Philippines many times and I really loved the Philippines. So to me, it was something I knew. And Thailand to me was, every time I looked at Thailand, it seemed like a tourist trap. So I decided to go to the Philippines and I'm glad I did. I really like it here. I know it has its downsides, but I really do enjoy it. I still want to see Malaysia as a possible place to live in the future, Vietnam also. And after a lot of comments about how wonderful Thailand is, I'll probably go to Thailand as well. Chris says, I guess those red flags would have been covered in the video you did about red flags anyway, so no need to be specific. Yep. Wondering that says, Hilary, study how your body handles carb if they are packaged with fiber in a whole food. This is embarrassing that I even have to say this. Well, we're not all doctors, Wondering Doc. Okay. I'm going to do some research on this afterwards, and because I'm into diet and eating healthy, so I want to know more about this. True, they eat a lot of rice and dried fish and sitting all day doing FB. Yeah, the sitting thing is bad. I shovel rice, oats 4 times a day into my mouth. I'm 165 pounds, 9% body fat. I'm assuming year-round body fat with defined abs. Whole foods do not make you fat. Ice cream does. Yes, and I love ice cream. Hey, Wandering Doc, I was wondering if you could do me a favor. Could you shoot me an email in the About section and just maybe you could write me what I didn't know you were into bodybuilding. I kind of like to lift weights and would like to gain some pounds. When I was doing bodybuilding in the US, I used to weigh like 179. Now I'm at 154. So I'd like to gain some weight. So if you have any tips or something like that, shoot me an email. That'd be great. The taste of dried fish, I don't mind. It's the smell while cooking that kills me. I've never had dried fish and I don't intend to eat it either. A prenup is a great idea, should be mandatory. You know, a prenup is actually a great idea, but also talking to your girlfriend that you intend to marry about a prenup, because that will give you some idea of who she is. If she starts like a prenup, why you don't trust me and all that, that's a really red flag, because then she's saying she's with you because of the money. So be careful about that. A girl that is, you talk about a prenup and she says, "Oh, that's fine with me," you know, that's probably a good girl. Just be careful that the Filipina girl doesn't have a Filipino boyfriend. And many of these online girls do. They'll tell you how much they love you and blah, blah, blah. And after talking to you, they go bang a Filipino guy or a foreigner that lives here. If my Filipina meets me, say at the airport with her family, should I hold her father's hand to my forehead? Even I'm older than him, but he doesn't know it, even though I may look it. Yeah, it's a sign of respect. So I would. But I'm assuming this GF, you've just been talking to her, or have you been actually met her? Because one of the things I say is, if you haven't met the girl, don't meet them at the airport. But otherwise, Filipinos don't care. In fact, they might even set you up with somebody. Yeah, true. Okay, guys, I'm going to go 4 more minutes here, so I'm going to try to get through here. Wandering Doc. Okay, I'm going to skip the rice stuff. I think we talked about enough about that. The majority of Filipinos date and marry Filipino men, not Westerners. A lot of guys think, I've never had a Filipino man say anything about it. Nope, neither have I. Okay, I'm going to skip the rice stuff. Weight also depends a lot on genes. I eat junk food and I weigh 135 pounds. Yep, true. But it's also how much you walk and how much stuff you do. Wandering Doc says potatoes are totally fine as well, slightly lower GI than rice, but much better than candy bars and other stuff people forget they eat every day. Really don't know. I haven't had either, so I only had a Filipina, and they're fantastic. Yep, the portion size at restaurants is crazy in the Philippines. DCW says, when I was a diabetic, rice shot my blood sugar up faster than a Snickers bar. Rice is a low quality carb, no different than bread or candy. Don't need a medical degree for that. Okay. I think there's a big disagreement about rice. Maybe my next live stream will be about rice versus potatoes. Joke. Westerners eat more potatoes and vegetables. However, they always ask for gastric surgery because they are very obese. Yes. Oh, that's true. That's really true. But it's the amount they eat. They don't eat 3 potatoes. They might eat 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 potatoes. Calories are pretty much calories. I've been through a lot of China, especially the western part, and there are no fat people, and they all eat. All they eat is rice. There are a few things at play here. Yep. How much are you burning per day? How dare you blasphemy ice cream? You could probably boost your testosterone at your age. Yes, they have that, what they call that, testosterone replacement therapy. I might look into that because that's supposed to help you gain weight. But I need to go check that once things open up here. There isn't a woman on earth who says a prenup is fine with me. Well, no, there is one I know of, and that was Mia. So I love Thai food. I always eat like a pig when I'm in Thailand, but I usually lose a pound or two at the end of each trip. I walk a lot there. That's the thing. Really, it's the walking. They do a lot of walking here in Southeast Asia. So if you walk a lot, you burn a lot. So, okay, guys, I'm going to go 5 more minutes and then I'm done. Oh, God, this all became about food. If you're on a laptop, just go to the About section and then click on email there. If not, it's Paul's Asian ADV. So for adventure, I didn't spell it out. I just put ADV at gmail.com. Paul's Asian ADV. Geo says to CC him as well on that email. He's trying to drop a few extra pounds. Do planks, lunges, pull-ups, cardio, run, or bike. That's all you need to do. Yeah. Actually, I usually swim every morning. Monday the pool's closed, but every morning I do laps, and then 2 to 4 times a week I go to the gym here. But like Gio says, it's losing weight is all about diet, really, more than working out. No, it's not. I'll at the end of the live cast, I'll put it in there. Okay, Wandering Doc, I'll put it in there. Look up intermittent fasting. I've heard that works really, really well. Maybe instead of getting married, we should be able to lease a girl for 2 years like a car. In the future, what you'll be able to lease is robots, female robots. That I'm sure of. 20, 30 years and around, I don't know if I'll be around, but you'll be able to lease female robots. That's coming, guys. If they don't care about prenup, it's because they don't know what it is. Not true. Not true at all. Sorry, you're wrong there. I get testosterone pellets implanted in my butt cheek every 5 months, and I'm no longer diabetic due to gastric bypass, 105 pounds less. Oh, wow. I never heard of that before. I'll have to look into that. So is it like a slow release type of testosterone replacement, I guess? Huh, interesting. Interesting, the stuff they come up with. Americans love sugar. I think we all love sugar. I have been OMAD for 2 years, no longer diabetic, and have 88 pounds to lost 88 pounds to date. Oh, okay. Americans love their junk food. Yeah, they do. Potatoes are vegetables. I tried to tell my mom that when she said we had to eat vegetables, but she wouldn't go along with that. Americans order supersized sodas that are a gallon. Yes, they do. Not only do they order, like if you go to a restaurant, most people in the Philippines and Europe don't even understand this. If you go to a restaurant, let's say I order some meal and I order a Coke, and it comes in a glass, they put a glass there with ice, right? And it's unlimited. They just keep filling more and more Coke, more and more Coke. And it's just like people keep drinking and drinking, and like Coke or 7-Up or anything like that has a lot of sugar in it. Don't be the guy leasing a female robot. They have female robots now, cost 100,000 USD. Yeah, but they're still in there. Remember when cell phones first started, how you had to carry this like humongous battery pack and the phone there, and people thought you're like a multimillionaire to have that, and now you have these, that do 100 times more. It's kind of like that. We're in the beginning stages. Watch Sherry 2000, classic movie. Okay, gotta watch that. Do they have Asian female robots? They have them any shape, size, or color you want, man. Haven't seen Sherry 2000 in decades, Rob says. Hillbilly. Geo in the Philippines, yes, Japan making them now for 100,000 US. Geo says he's going to start saving. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to end it there. That's the last comment from Geo. Good way to leave. Thank you so much for everyone joining, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. By the next time I do a live chat, Mia should be here. So I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for everybody who contributed, and thank you for all the funnies as well. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.